Want to bring in two guys who know sports very well, especially for this area. Azer and Steve Messeh, two DC sports super fans behind the podcast, the blog, Defeating the Curse. You heard Dale's comments. You got sportscasters doing political commentary now. You got athletes, who are stepping out there politically. You got the president responding to athletes, to jocks and owners and stuff. What's going on?
I mean, sports used to be the one place that we could all come together and unite together, and now it's become too polarizing. You're going to have to pick a side, and it's not just pick a side. You got to pick a side and stick to it. So the problem here is that we're in a conversation. You had a great question earlier to the guest before saying, are we ready to talk about race? What conversation are we really having? Because there are guys like this guy who I sit next to every week on our show, and he wants to talk about how these players are protesting, but nobody really wants to talk about what they're protesting. Now, you can disagree with how they're protesting, but what they're protesting, systemic racism, police brutality, social injustice, this stuff needs to be brought up, but the president's not concerned about that. He wants to talk about how they're protesting. He wants to change the conversation to win his base. And that's what people like this guy want to talk about.
Yeah, well, Steve nailed it. I mean, this has come up now so many times on the podcast, I can't even count. People call in, and to your point, it's pick a side, and that's really not how conversations go. Typically, you want people to come in ready to hear another opinion, but frankly, let's just start from the top here. President Trump's comments on Friday, completely unnecessary, over the top. I don't agree with them. It's the wrong way to send a message, period. The response from the athletes on Saturday, which flooded social media and everywhere you turn, somebody was speaking out, whether it was LeBron or Steph or whoever. Owners came together, put out a statement. Everybody made a comment in response to President Trump. There was no need to take a knee on Sunday in the show of unity and solidarity because, frankly, well, it sounds like you want to get something in.
Well, yeah. Here's my question. Okay, we got to pick sides. What's the sport? What are my options? What are the two sides? Is it patriotism? I'm a patriot. Okay, we're all patriots. Okay, don't necessarily have to be in the military to be a patriot. Correct?
Absolutely.
I mean, teachers can be patriotic. I mean, the way we responded to Hurricane Irma, terrorist attacks, everything else. We're patriotic individuals, right? So what side am I picking? Is it race? What's the team? What are the two teams?
Well, I'll tell you, the NFL has monopolized that term patriot, and they've conflated that term to mean military, standing for the flag, military. Yeah. Well, like you said, a social worker is a patriot. Colin Kaepernick, in his own way, can be a patriot. Just because he takes a knee doesn't make him not a patriot. So the NFL has monopolized
some people
that.
find taking a knee offensive, right? And that's the other side of it.
What if you're praying while you're down there on that knee?
Well,
is that okay?
Hey, I proposed to my wife. I took a knee. Tim Tebow got ostracized for taking a knee and bringing religion into sports, and it was unacceptable for him to do it. Look, I can argue this on both sides, but frankly, these athletes are paid by an employer wearing their employer's uniform on a field paid for by taxpayers.
So you're saying it's about who's the boss here. The boss says the rules are you will stand.
We all have bosses, right? Is
it written somewhere that you got to stand for the national anthem? If it's written and you've signed it, that's one thing. But if it's not written somewhere.
Well, there is an NFL code of conduct. There is, every team can every team can set a code of conduct on what's acceptable for their players. We see this in other aspects where players get into legal trouble and they want a distance and this and this. Right. Like, to some extent, you're an employee of an organization. That organization, to some extent, allows, it takes some of the
I'm just being the antagonist here. So in other words, you're being paid to be patriotic. That's not really what patriotism is about, right? Standing.
No.
I stand, but I'm not sure that everybody's standing with me is that patriotic.
This is what I said the other night, and I said this, we recorded earlier this morning too, and I said the same thing. The number one selling jersey today in the NFL is a player that most fans had never heard of. Right. Why is that? Like, money talks. Let's not over politicize this, but the numbers are clear. The fans, in large part, stand against and were upset by this type of protest.
For him, though, Colin Kaepernick's jersey was the biggest selling jersey. Okay, so again, pick sides. Okay, we're split.